Western mythology has maybe a dozen monster types: dragons, vampires, werewolves, zombies. Japan has thousands, and they're not organized by what they look like. They're organized by what they do to you. Yokai that drown you, yokai that possess you, yokai that eat specific organs, yokai that confuse you until you walk off a cliff. This is the only mythology where monsters have a filing system. Some weren't even alive to begin with. The term yokai appeared in 8th century texts, but didn't catch on until 1910 when folklorist Kunio Yanagita cataloged folktales from across Japan. He used yokai as a catch-all for monsters, demons, spirits, gods, transformed animals, and possessed objects. Basically any unusual magical phenomenon. Between 1776 and 1784, artist Toriyama Sekian illustrated over 200 yokai in detailed books, and those were just the ones he knew about. Modern scholars estimate thousands more exist, with new ones still being documented today. Start with shapeshifters. Your neighbor's pet could be planning your death or salvation. It depends on how old it is. The kitsune, or fox yokai, gains supernatural powers at 100 years old. For every century it lives after that, it grows an additional tail, up to a maximum of 9. These aren't just cute magic foxes. They're messengers of Inari, the Shinto rice god. There are over 30,000 Inari shrines across Japan today, and every single one is protected by kitsune. Their powers include shape-shifting, especially into beautiful women, creating illusions so realistic you can't tell what's real, and controlling fire with their minds. The problem? You never know if a kitsune is a benevolent guardian or a mischievous trickster until it's too late. Then there's the tanuki, the raccoon dog. Master shapeshifters known for using their enlarged testicles as weapons. Yes, you heard that right. They transform into objects, humans, Buddhist monks. During the Edo period, merchants blamed tanuki for business failures, claiming they'd been tricked by shape-shifting raccoon dogs. But shape-shifting animals are child's play when mountains come alive. In Japan's mountains, beings so powerful they've been worshipped as gods once waged war against Buddha himself. The Tengu. The name derives from the Chinese Tiangu, meaning heavenly dog. There are 2 types. Karasu Tengu have crow heads and are considered the lesser form. Dai Tengu have red faces with impossibly long noses, and the longer the nose, the greater their power. Between the 9th and 10th centuries, Tengu were feared as bird demons, but by the Edo period they'd evolved into near-divine mountain protectors. Their powers include controlling wind, superhuman martial arts, teleportation, and possession. The most famous Tengu is Sojobo, king of all Tengu on Mount Kurama, who taught legendary warrior Minamoto no Yoshitsune swordsmanship. They wear Yamabushi mountain monk robes and carry magical fans made of 7 feathers. And then there are the Oni, demon ogres. Towering giants with red or blue skin, 1 or 2 ox horns growing from their heads, tiger skin loincloths, and iron clubs called kanabo. They have 3 toes, 3 fingers, and sometimes 3 eyes. The term Oni originally meant hidden. It referred to all supernatural beings before categories were defined. In Buddhist belief, Oni are born when truly wicked humans die and end up in Buddhist hell, transformed into demons. Their appearance has cultural symbolism too. Ox horns plus tiger skin equals Ushitora, the northeast direction, considered the Demon's Gate or Kimon. The most famous Oni is Shuten Doji, the drunken demon who kidnapped noble daughters in medieval Kyoto and drank their blood until he was defeated by warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu. Mountains hide demons and gods. Water hides something worse. There's a creature in Japanese rivers that knows one thing about good manners. That quirk is your only chance of survival. The kappa, river children, are as small as human children but as strong as grown men. They have a bowl-shaped depression on top of their heads filled with water, and that water is the source of all their power. They also have turtle shells, webbed hands and feet, scaly green or blue skin, and duck-like beaks. Their anatomy gets bizarre. They have 3 anuses, which means they pass gas 3 times more than humans. Their forearms are connected inside their shell, but here's the critical detail. Kappa are obsessively polite. They must return a bow. When they do, the water spills from their head bowl and renders them powerless. Their diet preferences include cucumbers, which is why kappa maki sushi exists, and human anuses. Specifically, they extract the mythical shirikodama ball from inside. They have a dual nature. Sometimes they're helpful, teaching humans medicine and bone setting. Other times they're deadly, drowning swimmers and attacking horses and cattle. Warning signs are still posted near bodies of water in rural Japanese villages today. Cucumber offerings are left at shrines, and the Kappabashi district in Tokyo is named after them. At least kappa are predictable. The next yokai didn't even start as living things. What's the oldest object in your house? In Japan, if it hits its 100th birthday and you've treated it poorly, you're about to have a bad night. Tsuku Mogami, household objects that gain souls and consciousness after 100 years of existence. The concept comes from a 14th century Muromachi period picture scroll called Tsuku Mogami Emaki. The name either means 99 spirit or derives from Tsukumogami, the white hair of an old woman, symbolizing longevity. This idea was used to spread Shingon Buddhism teachings about impermanence and treating possessions with respect. Let me give you some examples. Karakasa Kozo, the umbrella yokai, an old oil paper umbrella with one big eye, a long tongue, and a single leg wearing a wooden sandal. It hops around playfully, licking unsuspecting people. Bakazori, the sandal yokai, rice straw sandals with one eye, tiny arms and legs. They run around at night singing Kerarin Kororin Kankororin, which mimics pitter-patter sounds. They're motivated by jealousy toward newer sandals called Gita, Chochin Obake, lantern ghosts, paper lanterns with split mouths, lolling tongues, and bulging eyes. They float or hang, moaning in the wind. The moral lesson here reflects the Japanese concept of mottai-nai, which means waste is shameful. In modern context, it's a commentary on consumerism and throwaway culture. Treat your possessions well or they'll remember. Objects. Gaining souls after a century, disturbing, but nothing compared to humans dying with unfinished business. In Western horror, ghosts rattle chains and slam doors. In Japan, they have goals, specific ones, and they will end you to accomplish them. Yurei are spirits unable to pass to the afterlife due to unfinished business, strong emotions, or violent death. They appear transparent, wearing white burial kimonos called kyoka tabira, with white triangular cloths on their foreheads called hitai kakushi. They haunt the location of their death or graveyards and cannot leave until their purpose is fulfilled. One of the most famous is Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman. Between January and April of 1979, reports flooded Japanese newspapers about a woman attacking strangers. She was young, attractive, wearing a white surgical mask and had long black hair. Her origin? A former beauty obsessed with cosmetic surgery. A jealous female doctor sliced her mouth open from ear to ear. In some versions, she died on the table. In others, she saw what happened and took her own life. Her spirit didn't go far. She approaches men, women, even children on the street and asks, "Am I pretty? Watashi kirei?" If you say yes, she pulls down her mask to reveal her mutilated face and asks, "Even like this, Demo Kona?" At that point, it's too late. If you try to run, she chases you at Olympic sprinter speed, wielding a sword or scythe with a 2-meter reach. If you say no from the start, you die instantly. The survival strategy? Answer, kind of. The goal is to confuse her. If she doesn't know whether you're being rude or polite, she won't know how to respond. While she's distracted, you run. Alternatively, repeat the word pomade 3 times. For unknown reasons, she fears hair gel. The COVID-19 pandemic renewed interest in her legend because suddenly everyone was wearing surgical masks. Then there's Ubume, the birthing woman. She died during childbirth and refused to pass on from fear for her baby's safety. Depending on what stage of pregnancy she died in, she appears as a pregnant woman, a woman holding a baby, or a corpse carrying an underdeveloped fetus, all covered in blood, all crying. Her legend appears in the 900-year-old Konjaku Monogatari Shu collection. She asks travelers to carry her baby across rivers. The baby is light at first but grows heavier with each step, dragging victims underwater. Dropping the baby doesn't help. She attacks you anyway. The only escape is completing the entire crossing. In one famous story, Samurai Sutake succeeded. When he reached the other side, the baby transformed into wet leaves. Afterward, he was blessed with great strength. Female ghosts with tragic pasts. But what if a woman becomes a monster while alive? The most dangerous creatures wear beautiful faces, and one doesn't just kill you. She breeds inside your body. Jorogumo, the binding bride. Or, if you pronounce the kanji together in Japanese, it becomes a homophone for whore spider. When the Joro spider, also known as a golden orb weaver, reaches 400 years of age, it gains magical powers. It shapeshifts into a beautiful woman in her early 20s. It controls fire-breathing spiders with its mind. It creates illusions. 99% of its powers are designed to make eating people less of a chore. The oldest known reference appears in a 1677 story called Things That Ought to Be Pondered, Even in Urgent Times. A samurai is approached by a gorgeous woman standing with a small child. She leans forward, whispers in the child's ear, and says, "That's your father. Go give him a hug." The samurai picks up on the deception immediately and unsheathes his blade. As the child gets closer, he lowers into battle stance. But he doesn't go for the child because he can't be sure if it's an illusion or someone's real child she'd taken. Instead, he steps around the child and swings his sword through the woman, shattering the illusion and revealing her true form as a spider. In the same moment, the child transforms into a small rock. If he'd taken the bait and struck the rock, it would have shattered his sword and left him defenseless. The injured Jorogumo screamed and fled into the rafters in her hybrid form. The next day, examining the ceiling, all he found was a dead golden orb weaver surrounded by bones of previous victims. The moral is in the title: keep a cool head in urgent times. Panic turns courage into disaster. We've covered shapeshifters, mountain gods, water demons, vengeful ghosts, and spider women. But there's one more category. Japanese folklore recognizes 3 yokai as the most evil beings to terrorize Japan. The 3 great evil yokai. First, Shuten Doji, the drunken demon, king of Oni. He lived on Mount Ui near Kyoto, kidnapping daughters, drinking blood, eating flesh. Warrior Minamoto, no Yorimitsu, got him drunk, then beheaded him. Even detached, the head tried to bite. He survived because he wore 3 helmets. Shuten Doji stood 50 feet tall with 15 horns. Second, Tamamo no Mei, the 9-tailed fox. She seduced emperors across China, India, and Japan, nearly destroying Japan. Revealed as an ancient fox spirit, she was defeated and transformed into a killing stone that poisoned anyone who touched it. Third, Otakamaru, the great mountain demon who terrorized northern Japan until imperial forces defeated him. These 3 inspired kabuki plays and novels. Today they appear in Demon Slayer, Inuyasha, and Neo. These aren't old stories. Yokai are alive today. During the Heian period, yokai were terror. They explained disease, disaster, phenomena. Nobles lived in fear. By the Edo period, terror became entertainment. Toriyama Sekien's books turned yokai into popular culture. The Meiji period brought science, electric lights, railways. Japan distanced itself from superstition. Yokai nearly disappeared. But starting in the 60s, yokai experienced revival. Gegege no Kataro, Inuyasha, Demon Slayer, Spirited Away, Neo, Okami, Yokai Watch. Studio Ghibli brought yokai to global audiences. During COVID, the Amabi yokai went viral. Why do yokai endure? They embody universal fears: death, transformation, loss of control. They reflect society. They teach lessons, respect possessions, keep promises, maintain humility. Today, 30,000 Inari shrines still stand. Kappa warnings are still posted. Festivals celebrate yokai. So the next time you're in Japan and you see an old umbrella in the corner, or hear footsteps behind you with no one there, or meet someone just a little too polite, remember this. In Japan, the line between the living and the supernatural was never meant to be clear, because yokai aren't just monsters from the past. They're reflections of us, our fears, our values, our humanity. Which yokai would you least want to encounter? And more importantly, which one might already be watching you?